Hello everyone, welcome to Le Rebel. We're driving the new M235i Gran Coupe from BMW today. This car starts at 795,864 Rand. Do you want to hear how it sounds? Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment below. I'd really appreciate it. Let's see how this thing sounds. Okay, let's put it in. Drive, handbrake down, obviously. Traction into dynamic, sport mode, and give it a little bit of a rev. Woo! Bang, 108 kilometers an hour. So guys, apologies about the microphone situation today. Our microphone went in for a service and we've subsequently had to use Niyaaz's Apple iMic over here. Power-wise, this engine puts out 225 kilowatts and 450 Newton meters of torque, propelling the 235i to 100 kilometers an hour in just under 5 seconds. I think it's 4.9 seconds to be exact. It also has an 8-speed auto transmission. Then moving on to the styling over here, we've obviously got the M Sport grille over here. We've got a whole lot of actual functional aero vents that direct air to the various radiators, intercoolers, and that one looks like it's pushing air straight to the brakes to be cooled over there. We've also got this gloss black lip that finishes off the front quite nicely. These 19-inch bicolor rims that really help the car distinguish itself from the normal 2 Series. These unfortunately are optional extras that you're going to pay an extra 10 grand for. Then the other thing that helps it distinguish itself from the normal 2 Series is this little M Sport badge over here, and of course the silver wrapped mirror caps and a little bit of gloss finishes everywhere else. Then the obvious, the color. So the color is called Snapper Rocks Blue, and that I think really actually completes the car, because without it, I think in white this thing looks a little bit, people argue a little bit about the looks, let's just say that. Then on the back, first thing you notice is obviously the M Sport spoiler. Then at the bottom you notice this gloss black bumper and obviously these 2 rectangular exhausts that make it look a little bit more sporty. Overall, I think the only thing that we can agree on is that the new look of this car is quite contrasting in people's opinions. We took it for a wash this morning and literally the first guy that saw this car said, "Oh, this is so cool. I was a Merc fanboy, but this car might actually make me switch." And then the very next person who's actually directly related to the first person came out and said, "No, I don't like it at all." So there's no kind of middle ground with this car. You either like it or hate it. That seems to be the current opinion on it. One thing that I like is the lights over here and the angles of everything. It may look a little squashed, but it overall looks the sporty part. And I think that the way the lights flare out there, it might actually make BMW drivers use their indicators. Then boot space. We've got a pretty generous boot for the size of the car. I think it's quoted to be 430 liters. We've got obviously the little place where your first aid kits and storage units on the side. And over here we've got a nice glow-in-the-dark little escape clip. So if you do get locked in the boot by one of your friends trying to prank you, you can get out. Yeah, that's about it for the boot. We've also got nice little grab handles here that you can pull out to release the seats and open up the loading space without actually having to go there into the front of the car. Then moving on to the interior at the back of the car. First thing I notice, well, there's lots of leg room and looks like in the front there's still going to be some legroom for the passenger and obviously the driver. So that's quite generous over there. Second thing I noticed is nice storage bins on both of the pockets there. We've got this dual aircon control over here. 2 charging ports. It is type C. Seat material, very comfortable. We've got this kind of like Alcantara and cloth finish with these 2 colors, the blue and the black. And then obviously you've got your M Sport colors on the seat belts over here and some tethers for the baby seats. We've also got this armrest, very comfy, quite cool the way it flips out and then closes itself up, very flush and neat. Got nice lights over here. They've also given you the same mood lighting that's in the front at the back just to make you feel a little bit more at home. And then the finishes on the side of the doors is what I really like. And I like the way they've done this interior lighting. They haven't just followed suit like the rest of the manufacturers around the world where they just put like a bead of LEDs that shines down. Okay, and then let's talk about the obvious. I've done this whole review in the back of the car with my neck craned forward at almost a 90-degree angle. And if we sit in the middle, yeah, that's even worse. Let's go to the front. Then let's see what's happening up front. So the interior surprises me every time I get in. It just looks the part, feels the part. Let's close up here, start it up, see what's going on. Well, first thing I notice is the seats are incredibly comfortable. The bolstering is really good and you can actually adjust how wide it is. So if you are larger, you won't get constricted. You will fit into these seats. Next thing I notice is all the finishes are really solid in this car and they really haven't skimped on anything. Everything feels premium that you touch. The steering wheel, this button over here that opens up the storage hatch, everything just feels solid and there's no, especially when you're driving this car, there's no creaks, rattles, squeaks anywhere. It's just solidly put together. Then moving on to the infotainment system, it's typical BMW. It works well. It's one of my favorite systems to use. If you've never used it before, you will figure it out in 1 or 2 minutes. One thing I really like, yes, they haven't made that like capacitive touchscreen where you kind of get a vibration response to notify you that you have pressed the button sufficiently. But to kind of combat that, they've given you all these hard kind of analog buttons and controls and a little bezel over here to scroll through things. If you don't actually want to use the touchscreen, you can operate pretty much the entire thing with these buttons over here. Then we've obviously got this wireless charger. I thought it was quite clever initially because they've got this kind of rack that stops your phone slipping with a little bit of rubber inlay to keep it fuss. But the one issue I have is, so let's just get my phone. My phone fits in there perfectly, but iPhone, the big one, kind of gets stuck and doesn't sit flush, and I don't know if that'll actually charge. Then you've got 2 cup holders over here that adjust pretty well. Also, this gear lever is a bit sharp. I'm not actually joking. I cracked my phone a little more than it was already cracked by pulling it out of the wireless charger and hitting it against there this morning. Then you've obviously got your normal storage bins on the side. It's quite cool how they've partitioned it because you do get space for a bottle and then obviously your little random miscellaneous objects at the back. guys hear that noise? So BMW have obviously moved away from the 3-litre 6-cylinder engines, and this is now obviously I mentioned it earlier, the 2-litre 4-cylinder. But it still somehow sounds pretty good. I mean, I know that there will be some purists out there that like the naturally aspirated sounds, but I'm a sucker for turbos, and I like the way this thing sounds in the morning when wake up, start at cold start, and when you start changing gears, you get a little bit of a chirp. It's kind of like little tuner noises that make this 2 liter not as boring as you expect it to be. Oh, and the gear changes as well. They are piping in a little bit of noise into the cabin. Not 100% sure if it's through a sound composer with a rubber membrane or if it's through the speakers, but it sounds almost 6-cylindery inside the car, and that bark when you change gears on the outside is actually kind of natural. So then on to the ride. If I go into sport over here and I go into configure individual, you can't actually change the suspension setup on here. Yes, you can change how fast you want the steering, you can change the engine setup, transmission, but there's no setting for how hard you want your ride to be. And it's sitting on the M Sport suspension at the moment, so yes, it's supposed to handle well, but on every day, like look, I'm on a straight road now, it's quite hard. I do feel like I'm bouncing around a little bit. And then on any sort of, let's get to this corner over here and I'll show you. On anything less than a flat road, you do feel this car tracking a little bit. If there's any imperfection, it kind of just follows it. And then when you try and steer out of it, you notice how fast the steering actually is. It's very darty. Very fast, but still very accurate. You don't feel like it's too much of a bad thing. Noise. Damn, this thing is actually quite quick. You don't feel it. You don't really feel the speed in this car, simply because the engine, the transmission, they've been set up in such a way that they dispatch the power quite smoothly. It's only when you look at the speedometer that you realize, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. This car dispatches most of its power most of the time to the front wheels, which is a bit weird for a BMW, I know, but when things do get quite understeery, you can actually feel it. It can send 50% of total engine power to the rear wheels just to kind of help you rotate around a little more. Oh, you can feel that. I think it's a Torsen mechanical limited slip diff working there. Just finding out where the traction is, breaking it in, giving the wheel that much more power that it has traction. We know looks-wise it's very controversial. Some people hate it, some people love it. There doesn't seem to be a middle ground that anyone walks on this. With BMW, everyone tends to feel quite passionate about it. They need to show what they think. So if you guys think very strongly about the looks of this car, let me know what you think below in the comments. It would be quite nice to get everyone's weigh in on this. I personally fall into the category of not liking the looks that much. I mean, it looks like a cool car, but like the styling was a little bit questionable to me when this car arrived. But second day driving this car, I am starting to warm up to the looks. I know. Sorry guys, but it really is growing on me. This could also be quite controversial, but engine wise, yes, they've gone from a 3 liter 6-cylinder to a 4 liter 4 liter. So engine wise, I know this could be quite controversial. They have gone from a 3 liter 6-cylinder to a 2 liter 4-cylinder, but all manufacturers are now downsizing their engines. It's the way of the future. It's the way we're going. So of course BMW had to do it. And all things considered, I do think that they've done an okay job at making this 2 liter sound fairly exciting for what it is. Interior wise, I think that's where it's at for this car. When you're inside, you feel very special. It's got this Harman Kardon sound system. The finishes are all well put together. Nothing squeaks, rattles. It's just solid, and this sound system is actually quite special. Niyaaz approves of it. I approve of it. I think it's pretty damn good. All volumes. It doesn't care what music you play on it. It just sounds clear, concise. It's good. So it is quite expensive for what it is, but it is a BMW. It is a premium product, so you do need to pay for that sort of thing. I personally would have liked some more on the suspension, a little bit more of an adjustable dampener setup where you could have a bit more of a comfortable ride when you needed it. Things like that, things like auto opening doors, a keyless entry, the simple things in life would have ultimately completed this thing for me. So it's not necessarily a purist's car per se, but if you do want something that'll get you to work on time and it looks relatively good, if that's what you think, then this car might be for you. Anyway guys, that's my take on the M235i. If you liked the video, drop a comment below, like the video, thumbs up. Thank you. Be free, be you, Liberable out.